Yes, indeed, of course. A pleasant good night to all and sundry. Yes, we have to put some spiritual, religious, if you want to call it, input and some pep in our strides. Because the inevitability is facing us. And last night, of course, we brought it to reality. And it cannot just wishfully dissipate or disappear. It has to do with human action because the problem is a human problem. Whether you want to call it a societal problem, whether you want to call it a government problem, whether you want to call it a community problem, whether you want to call it a village problem, whether you want to call it a regional corporation problem, whether you want to call it an economic problem. The fact is, the problem is here, and we have to adapt and adjust. Have to. So people, a pleasant good night to all and sundry, east, west, north, central in Trinidad, our friends in Tobago, and wherever you are, streaming on the World Wide Web, a pleasant good day to you. Once again, of course, a pleasant good night and welcome. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Variety, they say, is the spice of life. And so, the variability, the various acts that one has to engage and activities to make life spicy, because variety is the spice of life. I'm saying so tonight because the fundamental issues that are facing Trinidad and Tobago today is how do we treat with our young people and that gravitation to what I consider to be life without a care. Life as if it is willy-nilly, helter-skelter, and higgledy-piggledy. It is something not to be cherished when you look at the circumstance. And while on the one hand, we have young people doing well. We saw it, of course, exhibited in the results of what? Of the C exam, the CXC exams, and the CAPE exams. But there is a category of young people that are wreaking havoc and seem to be on a course of perpetual antisocial behavior that I have heard some people saying, what's the sense? You're doing your work diligently, whether it be schoolwork, whether it be your business work, whether it be your labor in exchange for money, work, and therefore the accumulation of resources so that you can live a comfortable life. But because of the uncertainty, because of the vicissitudes and the incalculable, or put another way, the Russian roulette environment that we exist in, where life itself can be easily snuffed out, that notion, that vision, that ambition seem to be in a large number of the population, at least in contemplation, swallowed up. What's the sense? I heard that the Prime Minister, Honorable Kamala Prasad Bisesa, said that, listen, if something are going to impede, if something are going to take away life itself, you must act frontally. You must act with expediency and with a high degree of alacrity to eliminate it. Because the very issue, what's the sense? The very question, what's the sense? If you are going to die tomorrow because of that Russian roulette, desultory, uncertain, and hopelessness that prevails and pervades. Prevails and pervades. But as I have said in my initial introductory remarks, this is a human situation, of human making, and it therefore requires a human intervention solution. We talked last night and the night before that, about, of course, firstly, prognosis. Then we talk about diagnosis. And then we talk about, of course, the solution itself, the administration of remedies. In the medical fraternity or field, it is called the prescription. And that is where we must be at, having diagnosed the problem. And even though at the beginning we'll have some kind of prognosis, meaning that some kind of vision, some kind of analysis, on the backside of things, yes, it is an English word, backside, just as you have front side, you have a backside. On the backside of things, you also can prognosticate as to what the future will be. And what we know for sure is that September will come, and the SOE will be completed, and the government, I don't think, will want to enter another period of SOE, because first and foremost, they will not get the extension because of the nature of the opposition and their strident propensity as if to nurture, as if to support evil. I say so with the specific reference to the Zoso bill. And of course, I have to extend that level of what I consider to be insensitivity, irresponsibility to that of the independent benches of the Senate. I must. Because all the talk we talked last night and the days before that, and shocking you into understanding what the youths are listening to and what is motivating them and what they are gravitating to. Those youths I'm talking about who have the potential, as I have said over and over, to engage or have the ability to execute or are in fact engaged in what we consider to be criminal behavior. Some may want to nice it up by using a different term and say that it's antisocial behavior. Some may even say it is subterranean behavior. That is irrelevant in terms of the terminology. What we must concern ourselves with is the action that has created, of course, a disquieting, a very timid, and a very skeptical population, because in spite of the large majority doing well, the fact is that we have a critical mass of young people who are, I wouldn't say destined, but certainly are influenced to do us harm in spite of our material progress, academic progress, family security and comfort provision. They are prepared to do us harm. And that is why we are in a state of emergency today. You cannot dismiss that easily, because they have caused us to be in a state of emergency. And I want you to confess, to accept the fact that I, Lennox Smith, at various forums told you so. And my greatest claim to that fact, not that I am proud of it, but I'm a realist and pragmatist. And because of my wealth of experience, I am able to prefer a prognostication or a prognosis as to what we will encounter as a society, loving, peaceful, harmonious, and living to not just assist and nurture our respective families, but to have a prosperous country called Trinidad and Tobago. But those elements that are prepared to make an intervention incisive as well as precise in terms of their delinquency or in respect of their reckless behavior and antisocial, anti commitment to development, and want to live in the jails, particularly in the context of blue-collar crime. Not that we don't have the white collar. The white collar, in my view, is worse, but the fact is that white-collar crime does not harm the individual. It does not, in principle and in operation, take your life. It is the murders. In spite of all the talk about white-collar crime, the murders always come to the fore, and that is where the society measures their sense of security, a sense of hopefulness. And of course, the counter to that is their sense of hopelessness. I want to say to you that there are elements, and you see the picture next to me there, but there's a group of individuals tomorrow, another leg of their mission to make an intervention. Because as I've always said, this problem of crime and criminality, youth delinquency, of course, borderline issues, young people gravitating to gangs, gang warfare, and other antisocial and, of course, criminal behavior, is multifaceted, multidimensional, and requires a equal or parallel response. A multidimensional, multifactorial, yes, and indeed, the plethora of remedies that we can muster up in order to treat with this burgeoning and disturbing and exacerbated by the fact that right now, this month, over 13,000 young persons will be permanently leaving the secondary system looking for work, and there are those who are prepared to incorporate them into the antisocial or the criminal behavioral pattern of which we speak, and for which a state of emergency or states of emergency was proclaimed. As I said, there's no gainsaying in that. But I did say, from the perspective of the overall impact on Trinidad and Tobago negatively, from an international and regional perspective. In other words, I have repeatedly said that advisories against Trinidad and Tobago is one that will not only harm our international status, the potential for investment coming into the country, whether direct or indirect, whether in the oil and gas and petrochemical industries or indeed in the non-oil petrochemical and gas industries, the non-oil sector. That image that we have cultivated and seem not to be able to manage or placate is dangerous for a future Trinidad and Tobago. I'm talking about advisories against Trinidad and Tobago. So there's no gainsaying. Let me just go to the line. Let me just where is it? Oh yes, we have that there. All right, yes, indeed. President, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, Lennox, good night.
Good night, my friend. Yes.
Yes, how things? San Fernando is there. Here, boy.
Yeah, boy. Tell me.
It's too far for me to come up to go anywhere. They just drop 2 pound of biscuit for them right by Balize also, man.
I like you.
Right?
You make my day. All right. Yeah, they're not too far from here.
Yeah. All right, brother.
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah.
I like that one. That's a good one. It's only a Trinidad that could make that kind of intervention on a topic like this. But that being as it may, the fact is that I have said, and emerging out of that is what we are seeing. And as a consequence, the presence of a state of emergency at this point in time. It led to all of that. It gave a sort of clue and a prediction and a common sense propensity for anybody applying their God-given common sense will be able to analyze. I said over and over that the international advisories, and that was just a microcosm analysis, but has a nationalistic implication of a negative nature. When you go or you are a citizen of the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, France, Germany, and you decide that Trinidad and Tobago may well be as a businessman and you have some capital and you want to invest in the West Indies and you realize that Trinidad and Tobago probably is the most prosperous per capita income. That's the extent to which they will evaluate us. And given our GDP and given the size of our population, they know, well, listen, these people have more than they could chew in terms of the amount of wealth that everybody was supposed to be blessed with if our resources are managed properly. I'm not going to hazard what the Inter-American Development Bank said, what the IMF said, what the World Bank said. They're not going to go there yet. That is a different analysis. I'm focusing on the social problem that could impede and will humbug our progress as a nation, as we see on a daily basis that situation unraveling. And so when I spoke of the advisories against Trinidad and Tobago, and I said specifically that even if a citizen of this country decide to come and invest in Trinidad, the government will tell them, I wish you luck. Because we're not talking yet, I ain't talked to you yet, but you should know about the fact that sixth in the world in terms of violence, per capita in the Western Hemisphere, and the most amount of terrorists, all of that, we would have been subjected to, and people would know. But if you come to Trinidad, partners, don't go to Nelson Street. Mention specifically, don't go to Nelson Street, don't go to Laventille. And Laventille, of course, will comprise Beetham, Sealats, as far as I'm concerned, parts of Belmont and Father of Field, Malik, Movant, etc. That is by Laventille. And so what do we do? Last night I was at pains in particular to show you what is on the horizon. It is not a nice thing. We have to pinch our respective and collective selves. And I keep saying that there are solutions that have not been touched, that have not been ventured into. We talked about the MLIO and of course, the other associated initiatives that can be used as a microcosm, as a test piece, and replicated where it matters in order to arrest this problem, and we don't have to study about states of emergency. Give it a chance. Give it an opportunity. And I'm certain you will not say that Lennox Smith has led you down a rabbit hole. No. You see, because it has been tried and tested, but I showed as well last night some nuances where the Trinidad music is actually enveloping and almost taking over our young people as they act out what they see in the videos associated. I tell you, it's 9 million. I will struggle tonight to get 2,000 persons to be viewing here tonight. There are 9 million and 10 and 6 million people viewing that. And that represents cash as well, because they are not going to do that for free. They are smart enough to have managers and other persons in the know in the technology to, of course, make money off of YouTube and Twitter and, of course, the other platforms, social media platforms, including, of course, Facebook. So they know. They know. And they feed that and they feed that and they feed that because there is an audience across the Caribbean and in particular Trinidad and Tobago, because it's called Trinidad music. I go to the pubs myself. We have a team right now looking at the various pubs to see what the new face is. We have to look for other things now. It is that bad, people. It is that bad. So we have to be careful. I want you to listen at this point in time before I explain to you that particular flyer that is on the screen. I want you to listen to this commentary coming out of the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights. Yes, the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights. And I also want to say my apology, of course, that Mr. COP will not be with me tonight. He has an engagement that has taken him away. But I can tell you that his mind, soul, body, heart is right here because he understands what the task, plural task, are to reverse the present quagmire and the present travails that Trinidad and Tobago has now been engulfed. Listen to this.
The use of prolonged SOS by Trinidad and Tobago and the impact of such measures on civil liberties was flagged as a concern in a 2025 report by the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights.
So just in case you didn't get it because of inaudibility, well, it is a report, as I said, from the Inter-American Commission for Human Rights, but they focused on SOEs and the use of it, not just in Trinidad, in places like Belize and Jamaica as well. But listen.
IACHR. In its 2025 annual report, the IACHR observed that the continued reliance on states of emergency in Belize, Jamaica, and Trinidad and Tobago raised several concerns regarding the impact of these emergency measures on persons' fundamental rights and freedoms, including their rights to expression, association, and personal liberty within these states. The report noted with concern the continued use of states of emergency by several Caribbean states throughout the region as part of security policies aimed at addressing rising levels of violence and insecurity. The report went on to examine the use of SOEs in these countries while stating that the Commission also notes with concern the prolonged use of SOEs in Trinidad and Tobago. It said according to publicly available reports, as of January 31st, 2026, TNT had spent a cumulative total of 301 days under SOEs since December 2024. The report said subsequently, on March 3, 2026, the state declared another period of emergency in response to a surge in violent gang-related crime and intelligence of planned attacks on members of the protective services. On June 10, 2026, this state of emergency was further extended for a period of 3 months and is scheduled to expire in September 2026. The IACHR report noted. The Commission recalled that the use of emergency powers are exceptional measures that must be limited in duration and scope and may only be applied within the principles of legality, necessity, proportionality, and temporality. This is Let
me repeat that because this is critical. You see, I'm using and pausing there for a specific purpose. Because there is a matter before the Privy Council right now, not the one that is to go, to question the use of SOE, initiated, of course, by the Hadid incident. But there's one in relation to the 2011 state of emergency that is being, of course, executed at the Privy Council by former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maraj, and it is due for decision sometime later this year. And that matter that is before the Privy Council that came out of the 2011 experience, SOE, is specifically to decide whether or not that state of emergency was legal. You ever say? I say it is to determine whether or not that state of emergency was legal, and more significantly, let me give you the specifics. It was saying that you cannot use a state of emergency for or as a anti-crime initiative. Let me repeat. That matter that later down this year, the Privy Council is to decide upon, prosecuted or executed by former Attorney General Ramesh Lawrence Maraj, is to determine whether or not the 2011 state of emergency was legal, was constitutional, because you cannot use a state of emergency, according to them, according to what is before the Privy Council, as an anti-crime measure. Why am I saying that? I know that it rings a bell, or it will attract a nerve, because clearly the PNM under Rowley said that the fear of gang upheavals, he called a state of emergency. A similar fear as the new government came into office triggered a state of emergency. The idea that is common is that is a response to the criminal elements per se. You see, the argument at the Privy Council is stating that what you have a police service for, and that is not so widespread like an earthquake or a hurricane, that is so devastating that you have to call a state of emergency in order to expedite certain things. But in this case, is to emasculate and to prevent and to take away certain fundamental rights, so that the police can get an upper hand, the law enforcers can get an upper hand, and that therefore the political directorate can possibly, hopefully, beat their chest and say, listen, we addressed the problem. Well, the point I am making by saying all of that is that that may not be an option again for any government. If what is before the Privy Council adjudicates in its favor. And now that I have said that, then let us continue with what the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights have said about states of emergency, because they're saying basically the same thing. Let's get back to what they said a state of emergency, the elements of it, and the rationale for it must be. Listen to this.
And scope, and may only be applied within the principles of legality, necessity, proportionality, and temporality.
Let's go again.
This is emergency powers are exceptional measures that must be limited in duration and scope and may only be applied within the principles of legality, necessity, proportionality, and temporality.
You hear what I say? You hear what the people say? Necessity, legality, proportionality, and temporality, meaning that it must be for a limited time. That's what temporal there means. Yeah. Let us continue.
This is underlined in the IACHR's recent resolution January 2026 on organized crime and human rights in the Americas, which reiterates that prolonged or repeated reliance on emergency powers risks normalizing these extraordinary measures and consequently may undermine the full enjoyment of human rights, including due process guarantees and protections against arbitrary detention. Ensure constitutionality. The IACHR reiterates that while states have the duty to guarantee citizen security and combat organized crime, any emergency measures adopted must comply with international human rights standards, including the principles of legality, necessity, proportionality, and temporality, the 2025 report said. The Commission's report last year also emphasized a need to preserve constitutional rights during period where the state is using emergency powers such as so, including the rights of those detained by law enforcement during this period. The report asserted that states must ensure that all persons detained during security operations are afforded judicial guarantees and access to due process protections consistent with the American Declaration of the Rights and Duties of Man, the American Convention on Human Rights, and other applicable inter-American standards. The Commission also underscores the importance of judicial oversight, transparency, and accountability mechanisms in the implementation of emergency measures, the report stated. The IACHR recalled that it has continuously monitored and reported on the use of SOEs in Jamaica. In 2024, the IACHR called on Jamaica to ensure that measures used to prevent and combat crime were implemented in accordance with international human rights standards. Jamaica, 17 unconstitutional SOEs. Additionally, the 2025 annual report took note of a Supreme Court's ruling in the case of Dayton Campbell v. AG of Jamaica, where
Yes, a case in Jamaica, Dayton versus the Attorney General of Jamaica, the court ruled that 17 state of emergency in Jamaica was unconstitutional. You understand where I'm going? And therefore, that may well be a dull tool for future governments if what the decision that comes out of the Privy Council is one that says that ours was unconstitutional. But you hear that particular entity, and let me for your edification, if you don't know, the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights is that organization, regional hemispheric organization for the Americas, including the United States, the Caribbean countries, and all the Latin American countries in Central America, South America, to which all of these countries are signatories. And they agreed to, of course, the upholding of fundamental human rights and the inalienability of people to enjoy their rights, one, and two, to have access to courts, etc. And of course, you notice that they link it to the United Nations Commission on Human Rights, which of course is for all of the world, but this particular entity focuses on this hemisphere, the Western Hemisphere. But I want to tell you a little bit more, that it is that entity that it is well established that persons who in the domestic jurisdictions, whether it's Trinidad, Jamaica, Belize, Grenada, St. Vincent, etc., it is that organization where a local court says that someone has been found guilty and must be hanged. It is that organization, or one of the several organizations, but that one in particular, that it is well established that if a person in Hangman Row wishes to apply and did apply, you have to wait. The hangman had to wait. The state had to wait. The government had to wait until they deal with that matter that is before them. And human rights lawyers, they suddenly pop up and engage, including, of course, going to the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights. You understand why many are persons who may be in death row right now cannot be hanged, because their matter may well be before this particular commission. That is how powerful that institution is. That is how powerful it is. So don't say that, don't do like Camille Robinson Regis and say who the hell is Trump. Don't be that naive. I'm being generous because I don't want to say don't be that stupid. So it is important that we understand what we are dealing with and how the future is shaping up. And we better be proactive than being reactive. Because somebody is saying, listen, I'm old enough, I ain't going to be in office again, and therefore let somebody else handle that. No, what you do today, it will impact on what the future is, and therefore future leaders. So the International Commission on Human Rights is critical in terms of the way forward and the use of SOEs and these measures that they consider to be draconian and anti-human rights to achieve a particular objective of settling the society and to curb the violence and the criminal behavior that threatens to, of course, undermine the state itself in some instances. It is not by accident. Not by accident. We have situations where people that situations have evolved, that members of government are being threatened with assassination, and other high-ranking officials in the society, decision makers. All of that are considerations that must be given, and therefore you have to find ways and means. If institutions such as the Commission is saying, listen, you wouldn't be able to use that in the future for the purpose of crime and for the purpose of curbing crime. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Professor, good night.
Hello?
Welcome to the corridor. Go ahead.
Yeah. I just, I'm trying to call you all the time, but I wasn't getting through.
All right. Well, I'll see you again.
Right?
You know.
So, yeah, I get through now, and I forget now what I want to call you to talk about.
All right. No problem. Gather your
I'll
thoughts.
call you
I'll
back
show
here
you
in
come
next
back.
2 minutes when
Yes,
I
yes.
get myself here.
All right. Okay. No problem, man. No problem.
All right, okay,
That
right,
happens
okay,
to all of
okay.
us. We are all humans, and therefore subjected
Yeah,
to.
yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll call you
That
back
kind of
next time.
situation. Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. So I'm saying that may be a dull tool, a dull weapon, a mute weapon, an obsolete weapon in the fight against crime, if that is the intention of states into the future. The Commission is saying that you have a police force. Before the Privy Council is the same talk. Because you are giving and sacrificing the fundamental rights of persons to an entity whose job it is to address crime by its very makeup and nature, but yet still you're giving them additional unfettered authority, coercive authority, draconian authority, potential abusive authority, potential unreal. Because this commission didn't come to that conclusion just like that. They would have had reports against them. We saw what has happened to the former Filipino president. He is now, of course, facing charges in front of the International Criminal Court. I have no doubt that Guatemala, I believe it is, president will soon be the focus as well. Because in too many instances, people use the added authority, having been part of the institution that is supposed to generate the coerciveness, the execution, and the insistence, as we have seen with respect to what? To preventive detention orders. Preventive detention orders, that entire matrix, that entire process or procedure or measure is exactly what the commission is against. That entire process. Because the argument is very simple. The police is there to address crime and criminality. What you're giving them additional powers for? They already have that. I'm talking about these institutions, not me saying that. I would reserve my own position on that matter. But I have to be as objective as possible in a subjective scenario. I would want my government to do very, 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 very well. And I accept what the Prime Minister has said, because she was intelligent enough to make the comparison as we have been doing on this program before the elections, and especially since the PNM got into office over 9 years, by saying when you look at the statistics and beginning with the NAR in 1986, we have seen a rise and fall of murders. But all the rises is attributed to when the PNM would have been in government. Well done, Honorable Prime Minister. That is the argument. Well, while one may say it is political and the police must not be political, and therefore they are constrained in making such a comparison, I say to them that they didn't have to call PNM. All you had to say, between this period and that period, there were more murders than between this period and that period. That's all. That's all you have to say. And that the record-breaking murders started in 2008 under the Manning administration, which happened to be a PNM government. 534 thereabout. And then, of course, by 2020, 23, 24, 25, except for that portion where the present government has made the intervention on the 28th of April, we have seen records broken after record breaking after record breaking after record breaking throughout that period, all of which higher than what was the record back in 2008. We were talking 5 something then, it's only 6 something, 6 something, 6 something. PNM break their own records. And therefore, it is logical and common sense to say, well, listen, based on what happened in between that period and what happened now, without having to call any names to suggest that you have a political agenda, you can say that. But to tell me, as the Deputy Commissioner of Police would have said, compared to last year, the same time, we have 7 less murders now in the month of July or at the end of June, as the case may be. I think it's attempting to insult us. Because the question must be 7 alone? 7 alone, and still tell us that things are tapering downwards. Well, as a person in the know and observing, I would say it was because the UNC is in government. Murders are on the decline. Some say that if you didn't have the state of emergency, it might have been the same. I respectfully say no. Because we have seen when there were no emergencies for an extended period of time, after 2011, the murders continue to stay at a certain even keel, but certainly not to the level or the extent of that of the PNM when it would have been in office. Let's go to the line. A pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
Yeah, this is San Fernando
Yes, go ahead.
calling back.
Yeah, man.
I was trying to remember the name of a movie, and I couldn't remember it, and I
Okay.
went searching for it just now, there, and I still can't find the name of it.
All right. Well,
Right?
go ahead. You made a
But
point.
the video that you showed last night,
Uh-huh.
it doesn't surprise me.
Oh, okay.
But why it doesn't surprise me is because there was a movie out, and not not so much with the pubs and stuff like that, but there was a movie out with a kid, a young boy,
Mm-hmm.
who the parents took him when he was about, I guess, 12 or 14 years old, something like that. They took him on one of those what is called the like, a shooting range.
Yeah, a shooting range. All right. Okay. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but they were using blanks, and they put this gun in this little boy hand,
Yeah.
and when he pulled the trigger, the first bullet hit
Mm-hmm.
the target point blank,
All right.
right? And he did it over and over, and they were trying to find out what it is that made him do that, right? And it so happened that he was playing video games,
All right.
right? And the video game that he was playing was attracting real um um in views. So when you hit that target, you're just going up in numbers. Something is a video game. He played this game for so long, and that is not uncommon in these times because of the technological system that is going on.
Yes.
So what that video that you showed there last night, it didn't really surprise me because I know that the technological system, it's so vast now, and that these young people will do all kind of things on it, right? Now, this is why too, when Kamala introduced the laptops, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some people had a thing against it, right? Because they were figuring that these young people would get into the system and use it for pornography and all of that thing.
Yeah, yeah. Dr. Rowley mentioned that I would consider to be in a myopic way. I mean, short-sightedness, and I
Yeah.
would go as far as to say a sense of ignorance as to the advantages and the disadvantages, and everything
Yes.
has a danger. But of course, what you do, you use it if the benefits outweigh by far usually the danger. Everything you use, salt,
Yeah.
sugar, I mean,
So
come on,
anyway,
electricity,
yeah.
etc. But go ahead, yes.
So it didn't really surprise me because what you just said there is just the disadvantages and the advantages against certain things. Because even when we were in school, there were certain things, when you learn one thing and you remember you're learning and you're stepping up the ladder, and newer technologies are coming on stream um, every second that we speak. Right now, in some countries, I think it's in Korea, right? They have outlawed certain things pertaining to those videos.
No, France,
You know,
France,
so,
France just passed a
yeah,
law stating that anybody under 15 years can use can use the internet in that way. But go ahead.
yeah, so there's no point. You understand? You get my point,
Yeah, yeah,
right?
because they're facing the
So,
similar
all
problem
right,
that you just enunciated. Yeah, go ahead.
yeah, all right. So that's what I want to say. That's
Whatever you
what I
to say.
call
All
it.
right.
Just want to tell you.
All right, thank you
Yeah,
very much.
all
Thank
right,
you very much
yeah,
for your attentiveness in terms of your listening. I realized I didn't get much call last time because people were listening, so that was good. That was very good. Yes, but of course, let's look back at what Rowley had argued. Of course, eventually he rescinded that and encouraged people to have it. But you see, the counter argument is this: if something is a tsunami, it is a tsunami, and and if well, in fact, when they did not have the laptops, all of them would have had smartphones, which would, of course, achieve the same objective. So what has to happen? As parents, you take it away at a certain point in time. You try to be as accurate or as familiar with the technology as best you can. You monitor your kids. Like take, for instance, when my son, what he is watching or what he is viewing in his own time and space. My ears open and my eyes not closed. And when at the appropriate time, I would tell him, listen, I like that particular game or that particular video that you are watching because it will help you with your vocabulary and your ability to be creative in your writings. So when I give you a subject, or your teacher gives you a subject to write on, you must remember that kind of language that you just heard there. And I of course, eavesdropped upon. Can't get away. The point I am making is that parents have a duty and responsibility in this circumstance, in spite of the wide and involuntary use of the technology. Involuntary here meaning whether you like it or not, you will be exposed. So the best thing to do as parents, as guardians, as big brother and big sister, is to, of course, monitor the younger ones. Because Rowley didn't do anything really by claiming that games and pornography would have been the order of the day and therefore no laptop. That is asinine. Because they would have had their smartphones, and who would know? But however, the benefits for educational purposes, and I've always mentioned it in one context. A laptop, a computer, renders obsolete, ocious, irrelevant, a library. And more significant, in poor communities where a room is critical, sometimes it is overloaded with more human beings than that it can accommodate. And therefore, the long-time approach of hoarding books and stacking them up and putting them in a corner no longer could be tolerated, or put another way, you have the option of just a laptop on a table on your bed, and you have access to an entire library, more than what the traditional library can hold. Yeah, so that is how it is. But let me finish that particular video, so you will have an appreciation as to what these powerful institutions are saying. More powerful than Trinidad and Tobago. Let's not waste time.
17 SOs proclaimed between 2018 and 2023 were declared unconstitutional. The court would have noted that the SOs were invalid, as they were not declared for a constitutionally legitimate purpose, were disproportionate within a free and democratic society, and undermine the separation of powers by diminishing parliamentary authority regarding their extensions, the Commission had stated. The Commission also recalled that on May 8, 2026, Belize declared another SO in areas of Belize City and parts of the Belize District. It said, according to public information, the measure followed a security assessment and intelligence indicating an increase in gang-related activity and was adopted to prevent shootings and murders associated with ongoing criminal violence. Reports indicated that some 126 individuals were detained during operations conducted in Belize City and the Belize District as of May 11, 2026. The 2025 report stated, while recognizing the significant security challenges faced by states in the region, The IACHR reiterates that sustainable responses to violence and organized crime must be grounded in respect for human rights and the rule of law. In this regard, the Commission said it calls on states to adopt comprehensive, multisectoral security strategies based on evidence that address the root causes of violence while ensuring the protection of fundamental rights. The Commission said it remains committed to supporting states of the Caribbean region in their efforts to promote citizen security in a manner that is consistent with its international human rights obligations. About the IACHR. The IACHR is an autonomous body of the Organization of American States, OAS, whose mandate is based on the OAS Charter and the American Convention on Human Rights. Its mission is to promote and defend human rights throughout the Americas and to serve as an advisory body to the OAS in this area. The IACHR consists of 7 independent members elected by the OAS General Assembly who serve in a personal capacity and do not represent their countries of origin or residence.
So there
In
you have it,
parts of the
people.
Belize district. It
Listen
said,
to what
according to
happened in
public
Belize.
information, the measure followed a security assessment and intelligence indicating an increase in gang-related activity and was adopted to prevent shootings and murders associated with ongoing criminal violence. Reports indicated that some 126 individuals were detained during operations conducted in Belize City and the Belize District as of May 11, 2026. The 2025 report stated, while recognizing the significant security challenges faced by states in the region, the IACHR reiterates that sustainable responses to violence and organized crime must be grounded in respect for human rights and the rule of law. In this regard, the Commission said it calls on states to adopt comprehensive, multisectoral security strategies based on evidence that address the root causes of violence while ensuring the protection of fundamental rights, must be grounded in respect for human rights and the rule of law. In this regard, the Commission said it calls on states to adopt comprehensive, multisectoral security strategies based on evidence that address the root causes of violence while ensuring the protection of fundamental rights. Commission said it calls on states to adopt comprehensive, multisectoral security strategies based on evidence that address the root causes of violence while ensuring the protection of fundamental rights.
I think we don't need to say any more or go further. Multi-sector, notice I would call it multifaceted, multidimensional, all of community approach. Exactly what I said last night and days before. That is what the Inter-American Commission on Human Rights have regurgitated almost verbatim. Because the problem is multifaceted, multidimensional, and therefore there must be a multifaceted, multidimensional approach to the problem. The thing about it is there is no quick fix or fast fix. But there are solutions that have not been tested. And I submit, of course, the MLIO model to the authorities a long time ago. And last night, of course, you got an understanding of the chronology of what has been done. But tonight, I will go further. But let me just explain to you that flyer on the screen. It is a flyer, of course, that talks about United in Prayer. 2 groups of individuals recognizing, but religious-based, recognizing that there is a burgeoning problem with the crime and criminality, obviously, because that is symbolized, that is demonstrated by the very extreme measure of back-to-back SOEs. So it is clear that there is a problem. The Inter-American Commission says that, and of course, before the Privy Council and to go to the Privy Council, that the government may not have that as an antidote, as a measure at their disposal to use as they wish. I sense that there will be a curtailment of that measure. So what you need is a multi-sectoral, multifaceted, multidimensional approach to the problem, because it is correspondingly exactly that. And so, of course, this group, dual group, the Workers for Christ, Social Workers for Christ, and another group, they have decided to hold several, what I consider to be ecumenical, open-air, street crusades to bring the word across the corridor. Started on the promenade on Labor Day itself, yes, Labor Day. And now on tomorrow, you're invited tomorrow up at St. Babs on the basketball court. Had an interview today, but there was something in the background that has created some difficulty, but I'm going to clean it up and issue it on Facebook and YouTube later after the program. I thought I'll be able to share it with you and comment on it and have you comment on it as well, but that is all right. Right, so this group, a religious-based group, recognizing the problem, knowing full well that 13,000 thereabout coming out of school have come out of school this month, on top of the 13 from last year, the 13 from the year before, and the 13 from the year before, the 13 from the year before. Decide, of course, they will do something about it, and in this case, they have decided to go to that one, to get divine action, and everything helps, because the problem is multidimensional, and therefore, every opportunity to arrest the problem, to address the problem, to eradicate the problem, to ameliorate and to take people out of the morass and the disquietness that the people harbor, and the anxiety and the mental strain. It is important. So I want to thank those who have organized that. I will be officiating not as the pastor, but as the master of ceremony. I'm not yet qualified here yet. Notice I say yet. But certainly, I would invite and extend an invitation to all to come up to St. Babs. And if you're driving, of course, along the Laventille Road, and it will lead you straight up to St. Babs. You don't have to ask anybody. Basketball court, because they say that is the highest point in Laventille, on the hill. And then, of course, if you are traveling, those persons from East Port of Spain and so on, I know that if they are so inclined, they can, of course, take a taxi at the corner of Prince and Nelson Streets. Yes, I know Nelson Street sends shivers down some people's spine. But there is where the problem is, and we need to get into those areas and treat with the problem. 1 by 1, 2 by 2, problem has to be dealt with. And we cannot fold our hands and twiddle and twist and say the Inter-American human rights ain't solving the problem for we, but here it is that they're pronouncing and saying how we are evil and so on, because we're trying to treat with those elements that are so damn recalcitrant, so stubborn, that who can't hear must feel scenario. But they have their duty, they have their job, the Privy Council have their job, we have a job as well inside of the community, inside of Trinidad and Tobago, to address, of course, our own challenges. Let's go to the line. Professor, good night. Welcome to the corridor. Welcome to the corridor. All right, we seem to have lost. Welcome. Hey.
Yeah, good night, Mr. Lennox and COP by years.
Yes, man. Yes,
that big me test that tranquility down there, you know. In the traffic coming out the road now.
Okay. I know that.
Lennox.
Hey.
Things you looking too good, you know. You know that?
Well, that's why we
so
have to.
I see the, yeah.
That's why we have
see
to
the Hadid family and them the outside. They're free like Geronimo. No police watching in on house arrest, but the matter still going on.
Right.
So the black little boys and them will lock up without a charge, nothing at all. We're going over them, but because we lose only one law for 1 hour. What the most called for the most foul.
Well, that is what it boils down to. We were saying all the time that there was 1%. Now that is, some of them would have preferred that not to be exposed, but it has been exposed. That's all.
But that big man who still talk on TV6 program there, he having all that power now? All that madness he doing? Well, Lennox, too much of square pegs in the wrong hole, you know. Roger Alexander, something wrong with all. Lennox, I just try to live at that level and still far from in politics. Because every man to the one side, every man thinking it. I see my boy get short at it, ball possession by my little brother, boy. Orlando Octave, I'm glad for him.
Who's that?
He's a man, Orlando Octave.
Okay, all right, very good.
Orlando Octave, boy, you know him? The little youth man was singing there.
All right.
Yes, like I was just coming later after sing a song and get a ball position there.
All right, no problem.
I take the PNM meeting on and off there, and they turn real hard, boy. They say people who cost the UNC like dog, like mensch in the last minute and get opportunities. And people who rock with them, take and ten, who out in the Rev yard, they get to know opportunities, Lennox. So people laughing at me.
Bless. Very good. It's just a matter of time, man. All unfair games have to play over. That's all? All right. Later. All right, my friend.
Yeah,
okay then, brothers. Yeah, you know, he's a guy, you know, he takes things in a sort of smilish style. Let me put it that way. But people, of course, so there we have it. With respect to that, I think I'm inviting people to visit tomorrow. If you have the time, just come up. Oh, time 4 o'clock, from 4 o'clock. Some 4 to around 6 o'clock for the latest. Because we don't we understand the challenges of the time. So that's why it's so early, and it will end that early as well. So from 4 to 6, just about 2 hours, 4, 5, 6, yes, 2 hours, and you'll get the prayers, you'll get, of course, the motivation, you'll get, of course, dance and all of that. I think there's a whole program they have put together so as to highlight that the young people must put down the guns, stop the violence, and let's get into peace. Let's hope that peace treaties hold and all of that. We had a very lengthy discussion this evening, which I'm going to post up as a video tonight for you to see. Pleasant good night. Welcome to the corridor.
A pleasant good night to you, Lennox Smith, and everybody on the live. A pleasant good night. Lennox Smith.
Yes.
I have an assignment for you to do. Whenever I get a chance, after you finish, I will do it for me.
Okay.
So just now there I was taking a look at the PNM meeting at Balizi House.
Yeah.
So apparently the document that the police served Foster Cummins concerning Balizi House.
Uh-huh.
I don't know if the document with Marvin Gonzalez held in his hand was that document. The man take a lighter and light that document on fire and burn it in.
All right. So what? I don't think it would have been government property again. If it was government property, I suppose they would have leveled whatever at him. But we know for sure.
I don't know.
We know for sure that the Balize House, which is the subject or might have triggered that action of resistance, we know that a large portion of it would have been as a consequence of them being in government. That is what we know for sure. The logic doesn't comply, it doesn't comprehend, because if at the beginning 2015 you were owing 6 million, and by 2009 25 you are building something for over $100 million, you have to account, and there's laws to treat with that. I see that the own law they define now. I've not seen what you have said, but I'm gleaning from what you have said that they are resisting. Well, let them resist. They will lose that whole building. It had nothing to do with them. It had nothing to do with them. it has to do with where they get the money from. And if they cannot say where they get the money from, then the building will be forfeited by the state. That is what they are facing. It had nothing to do with the individuals. Yeah, go ahead.
No, here what going on.
Uh-huh.
Here what going on. I listen to the words the using to the supporters. And it's look like they want to start up something to resemble the 1990 coup. People have to pay very close attention to some of the words that they're using. Because I realize
I'm sure attention is being paid, just as how you are paying attention. I'm sure, yeah.
Right? Sure because they're using words to interfere with the people and emotion to get them wild up.
Yeah, when you say that they like we, they will never like we, and we will never like them, and all of that. We know that what that means. But I think they are living in a nostalgic, what I consider to be vacuum, a nostalgic vacuum. I don't want to say bubble, a nostalgic vacuum. So even the nostalgia is empty, but yet still they will pursue that, hoping that somehow that they could get some political traction to force their will on the people of Trinidad and Tobago. No way.
All right, Lennox, not on listening.
Yes, man. All right, people. So we have had that contribution as well. People, I got two pieces of information tonight that I cannot confirm. One is about the burning of that document at Balize House. Somebody called in and said that they want to donate 2 candles to Balize. So I realized now to the PNM because the meeting seemed to be awake. And then, of course, the other thing is that the Hadis are out. I don't know what has transpired since this morning to now to have them at least go into house arrest instead as adjudicated by the appeal court under very stringent conditions. All right, so I cannot confirm, but I hear the caller, and I will not question the veracity or the integrity or the sincerity or the truth of the matter, but I simply cannot confirm. All right, so I want to make it clear. But I think what we are certain of is that we can, as a people, arrest the problem. It must be, the solution must be by the people, of the people, and for the people. And so I think the MLIO model, as I've been advocating, is certainly one that has been in practice. You see, I don't believe that something that is to be could override the thing that was experienced, because experience is the best teacher. And all you need to do is to tweak it if you have to, because it was successful in order to get along. Listen to this.
Hey everyone, today I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventille Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now, you might be wondering, what's MLIO all about? Well, it's a grassroots initiative aiming to uplift and empower the communities in Morvant and Laventille. These are areas that have faced significant challenges, including crime, poverty, and limited access to opportunities. But MLIO is flipping the script. They're not just addressing problems, they're creating solutions. Through a range of programs focused on education, health, and community development, MLIO is making a tangible difference. Take their education programs, for example. They're providing after-school tutoring, scholarships, and even vocational training. Kids who might have fallen through the cracks are now dreaming big and achieving even bigger. That's the power of education. Health is another cornerstone of MLIO's mission. They've set up health clinics, organized fitness activities, and run campaigns to raise awareness about crucial health issues. The result? A healthier, more informed community ready to take on the world. And let's not forget community development. MLIO hosts workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leadership skills. They're not just giving a fish, they're teaching how to fish. People are starting businesses, getting jobs, and becoming role models in their own right. But what really sets MLIO apart is their heart. This organization isn't just about projects and programs. It's about people. It's about neighbors helping neighbors and communities rising together. The spirit of unity and resilience is palpable, and it's changing lives every single day. So, if you're a community leader looking for inspiration, look no further than MLIO. This is proof that with a clear vision and a lot of heart, real change is possible. Let's continue to support and champion initiatives like MLIO. Together, we can create brighter futures for all. Thanks for your attention. And remember, change starts with you.
Hey everyone. Today, I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk about the Morvant Laventil Improvement Organization, better known as MLIO. Now, you might be wondering, what's MLIO all about? Well, it's a grassroots initiative aiming to uplift and empower the communities in Morvant and Laventil. These are areas that have faced significant challenges, including crime, poverty, and limited access to opportunities. But MLIO is flipping the script. They're not just addressing problems. They're creating solutions. Through a range of programs focused on education, health, and community development, MLIO is making a tangible difference. Take their education programs, for example. They're providing after-school tutoring, scholarships, and even vocational training. Kids who might have fallen through the cracks are now dreaming big and achieving even bigger. That's the power of education. Health is another cornerstone of MLIO's mission. They've set up health clinics, organized fitness activities, and run campaigns to raise awareness about crucial health issues. The result? A healthier, more informed community ready to take on the world. And let's not forget community development. MLIO hosts workshops on entrepreneurship, financial literacy, and leadership skills. They're not just giving a fish. They're teaching how to fish. People are starting businesses, getting jobs, and becoming role models in their own right. But what really sets MLIO apart is their heart. This organization isn't just about projects and programs. It's about people. It's about neighbors helping neighbors and communities rising together. The spirit of unity and resilience is palpable, and it's changing lives every single day. So, if you're a community leader looking for inspiration, look no further than MLIO. This is proof that with a clear vision and a lot of heart, real change is possible. Let's continue to support and champion initiatives like MLIO. Together, we can create brighter futures for all. Thanks for your attention. And remember, change starts with you.
Hey everyone. Today, I want to share something truly transformative happening right here in Trinidad and Tobago. Let's talk.
I was trying to get, of course, I was distracted by trying to get the video itself on the screen, but so far I've not been successful. So let's continue. Of course, the time check is now, it's about time to depart. It's now 9:41. So we have outlived our stay here. But of course, I thought it was important to bring that to your attention. Let me see if I can still get it. Whilst, of course, we are playing something in the background. Yes, indeed, but of a religious nature, because I want to make sure that we are in the mood for tomorrow from 4 o'clock. So let's hear this. Let's hear this. Don't forget as well that tomorrow morning, last day of the week for the ground report, Andy and myself, and of course Snipes will be doing it for you from 6 to 9 a.m. Have a wonderful one. final call. This final call. Yes, indeed. A pleasant good night. Welcome. Welcome.
Pleasant good night to Uncle Lennox.
Good night to you,
And
my
all the
friend.
listeners.
You almost missed the whole
I
program.
tried. No, but I say like you're vexed with me because I call in, and me, you know, like my internet was off.
All right.
You know, and
Sorry about that. Sorry
But-
about that. All right. Go ahead.
so me, you know, I say you're vexed with your boy. So me
no,
and you
no,
has
no.
your pizza tonight.
Yes,
So-
COP has some other engagement, so I had to do it lonely and loner tonight. Go ahead.
Because last night I telling you, I standing on your side 100%. But
I
you
know
see,
that. I know that.
you
I
get
know
back,
that.
I feel you get vexed with me and get frightened. No. So
at all,
I
not at
try
all.
again. I say that when the presence and you worship, the devil have to come out your mind, and Jesus will answer that phone.
Yeah.
But
So
anyway.
that's what happened. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I won't keep you because I know you have a busy night and till
Yeah,
Monday, please God.
yeah,
Then
That's
enjoy
all
your
right.
weekend and have this weekend. So a good program tonight.
Thank you.
And till Monday, please God, in Jesus' name. Have a blessed weekend.
Same
Yeah.
to you, same to you, same to you and yours, my friend. And to all of you as well, have a wonderful incident-free weekend as well. Let's get back to the spiritual food that is ending tonight's program.